I have good news. Your story was unbelievable when you told it to me. They are a no-kill shelter like no other. Their dogs are often handicapped, and they're not putting them down. We were compelled to help you. So we found we found you a car because of the great work that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. I showed up in Boise in 1989. I fell in love with the area. I had a son my senior year of college, and I needed a job. And I started in the car business with zero knowledge about how to sell cars, but some salesmanship. I had worked my way up to a finance manager that was also desking car deals. Finally, at a point where mortgage was getting paid, we had decided it's time to have another child. And we were blessed with my wife telling me we're having twins. 27 weeks in, she gives birth to 2.5-pound babies. You're talking about handing a deal off quickly so you can get back to the hospital, or leaving the hospital because a customer you've been cultivating for a few days is now ready to buy. Yeah, that's challenging for salespeople. I don't think I ever forgot that.
My grandfather was a Chevy dealer actually for 62 years. So I guess I have it a little bit in my blood. A friend of mine suggested that I buy his Mazda and Subaru franchises.
John and I got started a long time ago. He was always looking for an opportunity. This guy's doing it with this, and this guy's doing it with that. I think we can do this. And we saved and sold.
Corinne and I, we had to sell everything. We opened in November of 1994.
I had a gentleman who was interested in making me his number 2. Knew him well enough to go, I don't know, but I'd love to meet the person who owns this dealership. John Kiefer flies in, and I meet him for breakfast. He has this calm about him, and he's savvy. Went to work for John and Corinne as a general sales manager of a Mazda and Subaru dealership. The Subaru side versus the Mazda side, they were very, very different. Subaru and Mazda were dueled up, and it was time to de-duel. Subaru was my thing, and I made sure, John knew that I'm really embracing the brand. John owned a property right on the freeway in Boise, which was a fabulous place for a dealership, and we broke ground.
It was the biggest project we'd ever done.
Well, John and Rob are a very good yin and yang, especially on a building project like this. They definitely built this store for growth.
When we separated the two brands in 2020 and opened Treasure Valley Subaru, our Subaru sales, they doubled right from the beginning.
So I've got Subaru. I got this line of cars that we already know are world class. Now all you gotta do is build a great business around that. Some of the goals that we made right out of the gate were, let's build a track. Let's show off this all-wheel drive. Another goal was immediately we want to try to sell 100 Subarus a month.
When Rob was building his team, he knew what was working, and he knew he wanted to elevate customer experience. He brought in some great people from day one.
The most important thing we're looking for is, can they embrace Love Promise? And can they embrace this culture?
I actually was working on an exit plan out of the car business before the opportunity at Treasure Valley Subaru presented itself. And Rob asked me a question. He goes, if you could go back to day one, what would you do differently? Then he leaves. He's just gone. Doesn't come back. I couldn't sleep that whole night. I'm thinking, I would change everything. How we treat employees, how we manage schedules, what we do for customers. And the next time I talked to Rob, I told him, I'm like, I would change everything. And he goes, right answer. One day, I get a call from somebody I used to work for. He goes, would you ever consider coming back? I texted my wife and said that he had contacted me. When I got home that night, and it literally was like an intervention. And they started telling me, like, you're a better husband, you're a better father. Treasure Valley Subaru changed you into a better man, and we can't let you leave. The Love Promise completely reset the way I think about not just my job, but my whole entire life.
The Love Promise University is an amazing set of tools that every company should have to help us perfect and enhance the customer experience and the employee experience. Everybody in this building is blessed because of the way Rob leads. He's willing to understand other people's perspectives. Rob wants us all to succeed together. 2 years ago, National Business Conference, Troy Poston was up on stage and brought up I'd love to. My license plate was up for renewal. And the second he said it, it rang to me. Renewed my plate and requested that, got the plate approved, and it will not leave my vehicle.
Early in my car career, they weren't always as willing to allow me to go to the soccer games or performances and those kinds of things. And when we opened, I made a decision. Any of our employees, if you have something that's going to happen that's important, it's not that can I go? No, you have to go. So those moments that I can't get back, I'm gonna make sure I give to my people. And that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Rob's leadership style is an amazing thing. He knows about you and cares about you. My husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in 2023. One of the things that the Kiefers and Rob did for me and Chad was they sent us to Hawaii. Chad was so excited. He actually said that he forgot about that he had cancer. They wrapped their arms around me and they wrapped their arms around Chad.
All Treasure Valley team members to the launch pad for new vehicle delivery.
Early on, I learned how to celebrate the sale. The people that have spent all this time finding their way to the store go through a long process. When we do the delivery, talk about the customer's journey in some way. It's a way to celebrate them at the end. Really, really listen to what they have to say and take the time to hear their whole story. I want them to feel great about their experience.
I came upon Treasure Valley Subaru after shopping at many of the dealerships around the area and just fell in love. The customer service level by far is the best. It's not just the sales department, it's the service department. It's every piece in there and the kindness that you get. I've sent my kids there. I've sent everybody that I can possibly think of. It's an amazing place to get a car. Honestly, I wouldn't shop anywhere else.
Subaru of America has embraced this love promise messaging for a specific reason, caring for people. It's not a joke, it's not a one-liner. Who wouldn't want to be a part of a message that's centered in love? You can be successful, move enough cars, and also care for people that are at their lowest. Where that intersection is I want to say the sweet spot. The Boise Rescue Mission is one of the best organizations we've ever worked with. A couple Christmases ago, my parents, my wife, and kids all went down and fed at the Women and Children's Shelter. And what I realized on that Christmas Eve was that those 12 women that we served, if you're there on Christmas Eve, you got nowhere to go. You know, those people, they need our help.
The Boise Rescue Mission is the largest provider of services to homeless people in the state of Idaho. If the businesses of this community didn't support us, and particularly businesses like Treasure Valley Subaru, who support us in a really big way, financially and with volunteers, if that didn't happen, we'd be curtailing operations.
We give out about 160 sandwiches every single day. And it's more than just a meal. It's a way that people feel seen. All of our guests are coming from really rough situations.
Initially, the sandwich making was voluntold. We're going to do this. I had to sell that a little bit so that others would say, all right, I'll do this with you. Just a couple of times, and this train's rolling. I can't stop it. They're feeding people today.
We broke up into our groups and we started shopping. And that's when it really hit home, like what we're doing. These people have nothing. They're trying to raise a family. And Lisa held up a little dress And we thought about what kind of dignity that would give back to that parent. I can't believe how much that changed me. It occurred real early on into the shopping trip that we were going to break the budget. We just blew it to shreds, which made me really happy. And I told Rob, we just got to go sell one more car today. We got this.
When I was in the NICU and the girls were on the brink of not making it, I would just pray that they were okay. They're really small, 2.5 pounds they're barely hanging on. I mean, literally, their heads were sitting on my hands, on my fingertips. Their legs were hanging off, and they're not likely to make it. And I would take them and I'd put them inside your shirt so you can keep them warm. And then I'd hold them for as long as they'd let me. And the concern of them they're not going to make it. And, see them now. It's unbelievable. 28 years old, and they got babies of their own. There's nothing like it. I'm sure it's affected me. And I definitely want to help people. When I found out we were the retail of the year, a lot of emotion welled up in me, and I couldn't believe it. We've done a lot to get here, and we've helped a lot of people. I'm so damn proud. So damn proud. Success isn't all about selling a car. In the car business, we think so much about how are we going to make money. And once you can get to a level that we've gotten to, where we can now do things that are benevolent. If all of the Subaru retailers in the United States were to take this love promise to that level, can you imagine all the good that Subaru could be doing, caring for people at the highest level? Can you imagine if all of the Subaru retailers were to do that? What a difference we could make.